Better?
Good. Yep.
Okay.
Better.
Wonderful.
All right. Aim to please. Okay, so go ahead, Warren. You want to talk about your first slide? All right. All right. I'll go to your second one. Okay, so now we're going to have Ken. So Ken, if you want to say any comments about your pictures.
You may have to unmute yourselves, folks.
Yeah, this is this was actually taking my old Nikon FM when I was young and foolish, as opposed to being old and foolish now. Trip to Gold Gate Bridge, trip to San Francisco, and I just happened to get up early in the morning and found this image, and I followed everything I read about photography that said you have to frame it, and I found the ideal place to sit and frame this thing. It's a good trip. And this is a famous bridge in Boston. I forget the name of it right now, but yeah, I did this with my daughter. My daughter and I used to go out. This is back when back when I got into digital photography. I mean, I started in my early 20s. I did film. I processed my own black and white. I had a Bessler enlarger that I used to do my own prints back when an 8 by 10 was a huge print. Now I won't do anything less, frame anything less than a 16 by 22. Um, but yeah, this is taken in Boston. And this I love. This I call wet paint. This is, I just happened to stumble across this when I was driving around, up around, it's East Vincent Township in Pennsylvania. And I just happened to see this image. I saw the horse and I saw the bridge, and I just thought this was a fantastic shot. I loved it.
Okay, Ben. About you unmute yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the Ben Franklin Bridge that we've all, photographed a million times. It's from the Camden side, from the beginning of the pedestrian slash bike lane that goes across to Philly. So it's just a view of that bridge you don't normally see. Now, this was out there this afternoon. Did you read about it?
No.
Yeah, I realized a couple years ago if you put your iPhone in panoramic mode and as it's panning, you twist it back and forth, you get all kinds of crazy images like this one. You don't know what's going to happen until you finish doing the panning and the twisting. So this is just a fun thing to play with. This is a bridge in a sculpture park outside of Oslo, Norway, and you actually can walk through it. And the inside of it is pretty straight, even though it's kind of twisted from the outside. I thought it was really unique and very clever.
Okay, David Rodstein. And unmute yourself, please.
Okay, this is the Ben Franklin Bridge. The rainbow here is the dominant object. It was just something I had to get very, very quickly. Otherwise, it's going to go away. And without the rainbow, it would just be a very, very ordinary picture. But you get the idea, the Ben Franklin Bridge. It's basically in the visual hierarchy, it's subdominant to the rainbow. But you see that you're on the bridge and you know the bridge is there, and it's also framed by the trees. And the second tower, it's hidden, but you understand what it is, and you can see the first tower that where the bridge is suspended. I was just one of those. I was actually walking back from the Armory Photography Show when I took this picture. This is the Lumberville Bridge in the New Hope area. We were going to have dinner at the Black Bass. I had the telephoto lens with the DSLR, and it was just at twilight, and I took that picture, and that was enough ISO where I could do it handheld. And the modern Photoshop is very, very good at getting rid of the color noise and the regular noise, and it gets it just right so you don't lose the sharpness. Uh, the Basically is that I did a low saturation color to give it a very dark, give it a dark, moody effect. And the bridge is sandwiched between the two buildings. The fence brings them together, and the light fixture lets you know the time of day. And being fall with the bare trees, it's fairly cool out, and it's a cool colored picture. This is in Florence, Italy. We just saw the a wood duck right in front of the Ponte Vecchio, and decided to make the bridge in the background because I'm not used to seeing nature, in a dense city like Florence. And basically, actually, if I inverted mirrored the photo, you'd be leading in from the lower left, but you're leading in from the lower right. And it's basically, I just saw the duck and I put it in portrait. I put the camera in portrait mode, so you have a portrait of the duck, and you see the Ponte Vecchio, you know it's there. But again, in the hierarchy, it's in the back, and the color is just Florence always has like a warm color to the sky and a warm color to the day.
He's missing a foot, isn't he?
No.
Um, I think
Looks
you're
like
right.
it's-
Oh my. Yeah.
Wood duck is missing a foot. I'd noticed that before.
I think you're right. Or the webbing part anyway. He's got a leg, just no foot.
Yeah.
Okay, Martin,
Yes.
unmute yourself.
Okay. These are all of the Ben Franklin Bridge. I took this because I like the leading lines, and I thought it was like a interesting view of the bridge. And this is the underside of the bridge. I was going for a walk, and I just thought architecturally it was very interesting. And this is the bridge again from a different view.
Okay, Penny.
Hey, yeah, okay, so this first one here is near Athens, Georgia, where I spent most of the last 40 years. And one of the very rare snowfalls that happens in that area. This is the Watson Mill covered bridge there. It's whenever I was living there and wanted to go photograph something and didn't know what I wanted to photograph, I would wander out to this bridge area and take a photo there. And I'm sure I'm the only person here in this group who's ever taken a photo of this bridge here. But when I moved here a couple of 3 years ago, I was fascinated by the bridges crossing the Schuylkill and the other rivers, and just absolutely charmed by how beautiful they could be. And here we are in Florence again. And when I took this one, I guess I was just documenting it. But oddly, looking back on it, it looks to me like it belongs in some Star Wars movie. And some little Ewoks or something living in those apartments up there. But I've got to spend a week there and would happily spend 6 months there, given the opportunity.
My turn. Steve. Okay, so if you've been to, Monet's paintings, he says Monet's Bridge, and my wife and I, on one of our vacations, actually went to Giverny, where the bridges are, and saw that. This isn't actually in Giverny. This is actually a based on the Monet bridges in the paintings, but it's actually at the Grounds for Sculpture in Hamilton, New Jersey. And the real bridge is a lot flatter and easier to walk across than this one. This one's pretty steep up and down, but it's a great bridge and a great picture. And if you want to go see the bridge in person, I do highly recommend Grounds for Sculpture in Hamilton, New Jersey. So my wife and I did take a vacation in Paris, and there's a lot of river traffic on the Seine and a lot of bridges. We actually took I don't know if it was exactly this boat, but something like this, the cruise across the up and down the Seine. And it was a lot more interesting watching the boats from the shoreline and going through the tunnels than it was actually being on the boat. And this is the last picture. And this is the a picture from the under, walking across the Brooklyn Bridge.
Mhm.
Uh, Anybody wants, I can sell it to you for about $5. Not the picture, the bridge. That's the old joke, remember? So anyway, um, the just like the framework. And one of the things is the Brooklyn Bridge is one of the earliest suspension bridges, and they had no idea how much cabling they needed. So they kind of did 10 times as much as they actually needed. So it's a lot of cable and a lot of wires, but it makes a great picture. Okay, George.
Oh, okay. This is the Pencoid Bridge. That's between Lower Merion and Philadelphia over the Schuylkill River. And that's an HDR. That's 3 photos, 2 EVs apart. And this bridge was born as a railroad bridge that connected Lower Merion with, or Ballackinwood with Manayunk. And then it was converted over time to a truck bridge, and now it's a vehicular bridge that had a walkway added to it. You can see the walkway running alongside the part that's lit. So that's the Pencoid Bridge. This is a walkway, a pedestrian walkway. It's actually a reflection of the pedestrian walkway that you can see. The reflection is upside down. So the horizontal part that's at the lower part of the picture is the walkway, and the vertical parts that you see coming up off the top of that reflection are the supports for the walkway. And this is in the Schuylkill Banks section of the Schuylkill River walkway. And this is a bridge that goes over the Vine Creek. This is also in Ballackinwood.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. It used to, the arch supports a grade crossing for what used to be a railroad track. It used to be a passenger and a freight line that ran over top of the Vine Creek at this point. There's a whole lot of stone bridges in Lower Merion because Lower Merion is almost exemplified by all the underground streams that are there. And so there's a lot of streams around, a lot of bridges, and a lot of them are this same kind of stone construction, the stone arch carrying whatever it is above. That has become the Kenwood Heritage Trail. The tracks were ripped up, soft ground cover combination with blacktop was put in the place of the tracks. And so now it's a recreational area for the township. And this picture, this is an amazing picture to me because I didn't really retouch it. That sort of is the tones and colors that were there at the time. But that's what it is. Now it's a walkway. Thanks, Steve.
Okay, John.
Hi, good evening. Once again, the good old Ben Franklin. Um, this was made back last year during the 2020 photo festival. And I was just walking around looking for things that might be interesting, and the bridge struck my eye, and in I guess in processing, what I tried to do was just push the dynamic range as far as possible, and still keep good detail. And that's about it.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
So Anna actually isn't with us tonight, but she did give me some little script here to read for each of her pictures. So I will not try to mimic Anna and all that, but I will read what she wrote and for each picture. In this first image, I look at the bridge and was struck by how it almost disappears into the sky. I wanted to feel like something reaching beyond us, almost abstract, almost like it's stretching towards something bigger. The second image brings us back to the human level. A single person walking across the bridge, moving from Pennsylvania to New Jersey. It's a quiet, everyday moment, but it captures what a bridge really does. It carries people's stories and movement. In this third image, I was drawn to the contrast. Two Amish women jogging towards the sunset with the city skyline behind them. I feel like a movement where different worlds meet, tradition and modern life, sharing the same path. For me, these images are about how the same place can hold many stories, depending on how you look at it, and how photography itself can help be a bridge between those perspectives. Okay, John. John Priscilla, you there? I'm just going to flip through his slides.
You want to unmute
Can you guys
yourself?
hear me? Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yep.
Yes. All right, let me
Okay,
go back.
well, this is actually the most recent picture. This is the new swing span that they're building over the Schuylkill River right next to the Grace Ferry Bridge. There was an abandoned one there, but instead of fixing that one up, I guess it was too far gone. They built a new functional swing span so that boats can still get through. That should be open pretty soon. And that is the ruins of the old Francis Scott Key Bridge. And I just remember that girder being there, almost like a memorial, and I hope they leave it there because a few people got killed. And I've gone under that bridge quite a few times, and I drove over it once, and it took so long to build, and it just fell down so quick. And that is the San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge, which I took that one back in 2019, I think. And I was able to also capture the planet Venus, even though I made it look a little bit bigger, so it would look more than just like a point of light. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay, David Swift.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is the Ocean City Somers Point Bridge. And it was built around 2000, 2002. And I just love the shapes of it. It's very abstract. It's underneath the bridge. And that's to a side. There's a fishing pier to the right. And I took these in 35 millimeter with a Leica Mini Lux camera.
I'm on. Okay.
Good.
This is in Myanmar on Inlay Lake, and there are villages out in the middle of along the side of the lake. And so this is a bridge that's connecting different parts of the village. And they farm in the lake. So there's big patches of, looks like regular farmland with lanes that are really waterways. that people go down to pick the fruit or tend to the crops. And these are the people who are in the typical boats that go around the village. This is Shanghai in 2010. Every 10 years there's a World Expo, and this was the expo in Shanghai. And this is a bridge in the middle of the city, but they light everything up as sort of a carnival kind of atmosphere for the expo. This is in Indonesia, and this is a procession that's getting through a area that's a rice field, and they're on an embankment that then leads across this little bridge that leads across into eventually they get up to a funeral village that was built just for the funeral. And so these are the people that have come from all over the area because the person who died was very important. So this is the way they get to the funeral village. And the funeral will go on for like a week. And people will just procession after procession. This really isn't a procession. This is more informal. But they're coming and bringing all kinds of fruit and tea and special things for the people who's celebrating the death.
Okay, Gene.
I unmuted. All right. My three entries are all silver prints from the darkroom. This one is done with the Rolleiflex, the twin bridges on the Schuylkill, and it is infrared also. Next. The Valley Green Bridge, right by the Valley Green Inn, also done. This was developed in Lith Developer, and it is also a infrared image. Next. And the Gerard Avenue Bridge over the Schuylkill with the crew team going under. I just waited till they got there and snapped a picture. This one was 35 millimeter though. And like I said, all done in the darkroom, silver images. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Anthony.
Hello, everyone. I know this is a little bit cheeky, but this is a painting of the Brooklyn Bridge by Joseph Stella, and he painted it in 1919. I saw it at the Yale University Art Gallery in New Haven, Connecticut recently, and I always liked this painting. I remember seeing it when I was younger and appreciated it very much, and I think it's beautiful. Again, another cheeky photograph of a fold-out from a large book that I own about the construction of the Delaware River Bridge. Now, the Delaware River Bridge went on to be renamed the Ben Franklin Bridge, and this was from a 1926 publication of an elevation of the bridge. And the book is really kind of cool because it shows many photographs, many images of how the bridge was constructed. And yeah, and I learned that I didn't realize it was called the Delaware River Bridge when I first started looking through the book, and then I realized that was the title of the bridge and the book. And this is a photo that I took while I was on a train up to New Haven, Connecticut recently. It's just when you go past New York City and you start coming back out, heading toward Connecticut. This bridge, I had never seen it before, and it's called the Robert F. Kennedy Triborough Bridge, and it's really beautiful. And it goes over the East River. And I think it was built in, I'm not exactly sure. I think it's old. I don't have a date for it, but I don't know. Has anybody seen this bridge before? Robert F. Kennedy Triborough Bridge? was new to me. And that's all. Thank you.
Michael Silverman.
Well, hi, everybody. Good evening. Um, this is the most recent of the three that I'm showing you tonight. It's the only picture that I actually went out to take a picture of a bridge for this presentation, and I put my little small drone up. I don't know, maybe 100 feet into the air, not very far into the river. But lo and behold, this cargo ship appeared as if I had called ahead and asked them to come in. And that's that picture. Next, please. This picture was taken about 4 or 5 years ago. And if it is at all familiar to you, it's because this was hanging in one of our salons about 3 years ago. The Delaware River had frozen hard, which doesn't happen all that often. And there was ice completely covering the river. And when the cold spell broke and the ice started to melt, it created this fog over the entire surface of the river, and that's what you're seeing there. And in the foreground on the left is the gazella, which is on display there. And what they do in the winter is they wrap, they put up a wooden skeleton over the deck and they wrap it with plastic. And that's what you're seeing here. The Gazella was a Portuguese ship from, I think, entered service in 1901, and it's now kept by a foundation, and it's parked there over at Penn's Landing. So next, thank you. Next. Well, this you've probably seen a million times, this picture of the Manhattan Bridge from a vantage point in Brooklyn. And what I didn't understand, when I set out to take this picture, is that if you stood, just right through the bottom part of that bridge support, it framed the Empire State Building just perfectly. And that's something that I had never noticed before in seeing this image. And it's a pretty common image that you see from other photographers as well. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Gilbert.
What I have is a window. I call this arcane spans, a window onto the hidden soul of bridges in New York and Pennsylvania. These photographs of New York and Pennsylvania are more than steel and stone. They speak of mysteries, the way the earth and the sky meet, and the way separate shores become one. A doorway between worlds, each bridge shows the joining of opposites. For example, water and iron, distance and closeness, the known world and what lies beyond. They stand as quiet teachers, a reminder that every crossing can change the traveler. Well, let them whisper to you about what bridges you carry inside yourselves. The ones that turn strangers into friends, doubt into understanding, and two separate lives into a single path. For in the end, every bridge is a quiet promise we are never as divided as we believe. I hope they suggest a gentle thought about bridges we all carry inside, the ones that help us move from fear to courage, from loneliness to connection, from who we are to who we might become. They are only bridges after all, yet in their humble way, they whisper that nothing stays forever apart.